We are back at the desk once again. Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, October 15th. David Jackson coming to you from the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce. Thanks for checking in with you. Try not to keep you too long, but a few things we wanted to pass along to you tonight as you settle into another week. Snow flurries beginning to fall in the high country. Seriously. Wow, I guess we just keep moving right along, don't we? So with everything that's going on, again, just trying to keep some information front and center to you in ways that you can digest it. So here we go, just a few updates to share. First of all, checking out boonechamber.com. We have made a lot of updates to our resource pages today. Those are the things that have business resources, some of the tourism information, and I'll touch on that here in just a moment, that we are referring people to at this point in time. And really that is a complete rebranding of that whole entire page, as you would imagine. But the official information from Watauga County, things like the curfew, the state of emergency, all of those things we're scrubbing on about every day and a half, 2 days or so as new information's coming out. So if you haven't visited those pages for a while, make sure you check them out. It's got the latest on donation information. There's actually a web resource now that is able to point you directly to sites that are taking supply donations still throughout all of Western North Carolina, not just limited to this area. So that is an update. Also information on volunteer opportunities as well. So all of that, again, is being updated on every day or so. I would just urge you to check those pages. Let's talk about the tourism information for a little bit. So typically in typical chamber world, everybody's got a page of information that says, hey, here's where the festivals are. Here are the best routes to get here. Here are things to do on the parkway. All of that obviously scrapped. What we are trying to put up there is some of the information that people are needing to take into account if they are in this area. And that is the fact that Boone and Blowing Rock have their core infrastructure. You know, those city centers are largely okay and see people moving in them, but it's areas out in the county at some of our other communities here in the high country that are still very much not able to handle visitors of any kind. And quite honestly, the recovery efforts can be delayed by people wandering into places that they do not need to go. So I would offer this word of advice. If you are entertaining sometime in the month of October, a visit up here, a day trip, what have you, I would really urge you to check ahead with the businesses that you are visiting. Some of them are operating at odd hours right now that are a little bit less than normal because of staffing concerns, because of operational concerns, even in some parts of the area. So just know that we're not on a regular schedule around here right now, and you're going to need to do a little bit of research before you make that trip. That's not saying that there aren't opportunities for you when you come in. Some of those same restaurants and shops are open, but just check. Just do a little bit of due diligence on the front end, and we've got some suggestions for that. Also, some of our tourism partners have become great hubs for information about what is available and again, where not to go, really. Explore Boone, High Country Host. They've got some helpful guides out there and some language that's all very consistent with what we've been telling you about some of these areas. If you're going to come up this way, please, please, please stick to the primary roads. A lot of our secondary roads and tertiary roads are under repair. You know, Watauga County Schools is still out at this point in time in Watauga County, and trying to assess bus routes and make repairs to those roads is of the utmost concern, along with access to other key areas of our community. So just know what you're getting into. Right. And please understand that patience and a little bit of due diligence is going to certainly be helpful to the experience that you have up here, and certainly the experience that we need you to have as we continue the recovery. Let's talk a little bit about loans and grants. I know that's been a popular topic of conversation, and I wish I had better news for you at this point. SBA products are out there. FEMA products are out there. The Disaster Recovery Center now has opened in Watauga County. I'll have more on that in just a second as well. But those pipelines continue to be popular, and for some people, they are offering pretty quick relief, as well as some long-term options to look at as it relates to loans and what you can take on from a debt perspective. There is conversation starting about different grant opportunities. Those are legislative processes, and I'm just going to be honest with you and tell you it's going to take weeks before some of those can materialize. Doesn't mean that the conversations with legislators and with some of the other agencies that help support that work aren't going on. They very much are. Just got off of one of those calls just a few minutes ago, as a matter of fact. But unlike PPP and some of the grant programs that came during COVID, remember, we're not at a point where we're at a national issue. This is still very much a regionally focused issue that we're dealing with. So, the nation was motivated to respond to the nation during COVID. Not saying that help isn't on the way, but it's also not coming at the light speed that we saw some of those other products during a time where everybody in the country was impacted. So I'd urge you to keep that scale in mind, but also to know that there are people working on this, including our local legislators. They have been in contact with not only chambers, but the tourism development folks, small businesses directly, and they want to make sure that they get a good snapshot of what's going on. Which leads me to a survey that we'll be sending out. So if you're a chamber member, you'll get this in your email. If you're not a chamber member, check out our social media channels. We're trying to do this as a Watauga County snapshot. I'm sure other counties are trying to do the same to quantify what it is we're looking at. About 2.5 weeks in now to the month of October, what are we looking at in terms of revenue loss, some of the staffing concerns, some of the operational concerns? We need the data. So when somebody asks us, what is the actual what's going on in Watauga County, we can report with facts and not anecdotal information. So again, for some of you, that's going to come right off real quick, right? You know what your norms are, and you know how far away you are from the norms. There are a few businesses that actually haven't been totally impacted by this because of the nature of what they do. But we feel this pressure a lot in our tourism sector, especially because of the time of year. So if you could help us gather some of that data, we're going to put a pretty quick timeline around it because we know that there are many important conversations that will continue this week and into next week. So none of that data will be identifiable to a specific business. We're asking some general questions that can lead us to some of those answers that can be helpful in the conversations that we're having. I mentioned the Disaster Recovery Center. Let's get into that here for just a second. So the Disaster Recovery Center is something that was opened up recently by the FEMA office here in the Boone area. It is located at the Appalachian Enterprise Center, which is the same hub for where we have the Small Business Center, Business Recovery Center. All of these acronyms are the same. So let me just tell it to you like this. FEMA and the SBA are in the same place doing kind of the same thing. One of them specifically around that initial FEMA aid and disaster recovery for individuals and families. Another one in the SBA that's got some resources for individuals and families, but is certainly going to be the go-to agency for small businesses at this point in time. All of that is located at the Appalachian Enterprise Center, the address 130 Poplar Grove Connector. That's open from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday. And again, that is called the Disaster Recovery Center. And what that is, again, is a one-stop shop where storm survivors can meet face-to-face with FEMA representatives. They can meet with SBA representatives, apply for assistance, receive referrals to other local assistance opportunities in the area. If you're there to visit SBA, you can apply for FEMA, same the other way, and get some more information about those low interest disaster loans. I will tell you that from a few small businesses that I've talked to over the course of the last couple of days, especially those that have complex questions, it's best to go to an actual person that you can talk to. And that's the beauty of having this center here, is not only is that staffed with people, but a lot of the people, as I mentioned last week, are all disaster survivors themselves, right? So they have been on the other side of the table. They know exactly what you're dealing with. They understand the emotions of that situation, and they can really help you pinpoint exactly what they're talking about. Remember that none of us are experts in this, okay? We have just brought all of these new words and agencies into our vocabulary in the last couple of weeks. This is what these people do. Let them help, and let them also be truthful with you in what the levels of their help can be, and then what we are hoping to advocate for from some additional governmental assistance, or certainly things that we're trying to do through the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce Foundation. Those are going to be some of the supplemental things that hopefully will get us through what is a very difficult period of time. So again, check out the Disaster Recovery Center. If you've got specific questions, make sure you contact them over at the Poplar Grove Connector here in Boone. All right, last thing that I want to get to, and yeah, I know the light went out again. Quit giving me grief. One of the things that we've seen an uptick in here recently, and that gets to the fraud conversation a little bit, and it's coming in some different areas. So I'm just going to leave you with this comment for the evening. Trust the people that you've trusted before. And what I mean by that is there have been several reports that have come to us in the last few days about businesses that may contact you and say, hey, if you just give me X number of dollars, I'm going to feature your business and I'm going to amplify your message and it's all going to be great and you're going to get such a return. And then crickets, or you don't notice the bump in traffic and don't understand what it is you might have invested in. I would encourage you to trust the partners that you have worked with before in terms of advertising, in terms of local promotion, whether that is, and I know that there are people from other communities that are watching this. So your local chambers of commerce, your local tourism development authorities, your local media partners that maybe you've done campaigns with before, or some of those people that you know are well schooled in things like search engine optimization, website traffic detection, and making sure that your messages are getting amplified and that they're tracking those. If you're going to invest resources at this point in time, that invest with people that you've got a relationship with. If it sounds too good to be true, it likely is. Unfortunately, part of the reality of this situation that we're dealing with is that there are people that are out there trying to take advantage of you, me, and everybody else, right? So I know that we've had a couple pass to us. Is this legit? We've done some research, found a couple to be, a couple not to be. So just be careful. That's all I want to say. And certainly if there's anything that we can do to help you in that regard, I'm sure your other chambers and your other communities would be willing to do the same, of just kind of vetting who is out there and asking for what, and making sure that while we all know things are tight right now, you're not spending the little resources that you do have on a wild goose chase or on somebody that's going to take full advantage of you. Okay. As I mentioned, a couple of days ago, the chamber, while we're a membership organization here based in Watauga County, we're there to help all of you as much as we possibly can, pointing you to resources, directing you to folks that can be of assistance to you, or even just answering those questions ourselves. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. BooneChamber.com is that address. We've got great relationships with the other chambers, talk quite a bit here as a region. And again, we're working on some things from a legislative perspective on behalf of all of Western North Carolina. I think that's really the last thing I want to close on, is that 2.5 weeks into this, we know that we're all feeling our individual issues with this, but just remember, a lot of us, we're all the same. Our communities are the same. They have the same kinds of identity, and know that while some communities may be moving forward at a direction that is encouraging, other communities up here, our neighbors just over the ridge, are not having that same measure of success right now because of the recovery challenges that they have. So let's be mindful. Let's be supportive of one another and not lose that spirit as we continue on. It got us to this point. We just need to continue to hold in that direction. So again, we'll have more information for you tomorrow. I think this is going to be an information-laden week. So stick with us. Let us know if there are any specific questions that you've got. And as always, stay positive. Know that we're here for you. Know that a lot of other people off the mountain are coming to bat for us, and we're going to reap the benefits of that, I know, sometime soon. So have a great night. Talk to you again soon. Good night.